how extremist groups in general are adapting their messaging, their climate-related messaging to in response to this mainstream kind of political and geopolitical shifts.
Well, to use a bit of this previous topic, the wind farms, to use the metaphor from part of that topic, it gives them it gives wind to their sails. What Trump did is it's not the first time that Trump is the president of the U.S. This does not mean that his second presidency is any less dangerous for the state of democracy and for the way in which we deal collectively with the climate crisis and with its consequences. But I definitely think that there is some encouragement for these climate denialist sentiments around the world. And I'm quite sure that this will affect the way in which political parties, far-right political parties especially, engage with this issue, meaning that they will engage in a more denialist way. This is what I would expect. The reality is, we'll see, but I would also think that what is more likely to happen is that the far right is just not going to engage as much with the topic as it may have been prior to the pandemic and prior to Trump's presidency, in the sense of the far right is kind of starting to recognize, as I said, this was a part of our previous research, starting to recognize that an openly denialist position is not necessarily paying off. So the best way to engage with climate is to avoid it, right? Depending on the country, on the electoral and on the electoral cycle and the pressing debates. For instance, if you're far right in Poland, it's pretty much unimaginable to develop a platform that is going to be pro-climate or developing more progressive climate policy. This is simply not going to happen. But what you could do in theory, as I said, is avoid climate and focus on other environmental issues that are pretty much related to climate. So focus on air pollution, focus on water, soil degradation, focus on noise pollution as well, focus on issues such as agriculture, how to strengthen the farmer as the backbone, etc., etc. So I think that these are the trends are pretty much going to continue. It's not going to be anything fundamentally different. What is, as I said, what is unfortunately going to be more strengthened are these openly denialist positions. So in the years to come, I do not expect to see the far-right climate obstruction is going to continue. I do not expect to see some radically progressive green parties on the right. And even if they are progressive, I don't think they're going to fare up well in the elections. But at the same time, I think that the trend of the far right attempting to engage with individual isolated environmental issues will continue because they have to. This is something that is definitely affecting the people that they're claiming to defend and stand up for. So they have to address this. They have to say something on the issue.
Yeah, I mean, also because with more and more climate crisis that we are experiencing in Europe, fires, floods. If their focus is about the people and people first, then there is really little maneuver then to deal with that somehow.
This is another excellent example. I'm thankful that you mentioned this. Focusing, this is the problem with environmental discourse as such, with climate discourse in particular, climate adaptation and mitigation. What does that even mean? It's sometimes very difficult to explain that to someone who's outside of these policy circles. But indeed, the far right will focus more on the specific, say, climate adaptation policies. They're not interested in, mitigation per se, but climate adaptation, if there was a extreme weather event, and there will be plenty, and there has been, the far right is the first in line to call for helping those families who are affected by, you know, severe droughts or wildfires or whatnot. So they are usually the first ones to call for establishing funds or to invest more money or to put more money into these funds to kind of help the victims of these extreme weather events. They're not dealing with the cause; they're dealing with the consequences. And I actually think that this is going to continue in the years to come.